On this episode of the NWA 1984 Project, WWF National Expansion Wrestler Spotlight on Stan Hansen and Giant Baba, and Dave Meltzer gets heat on Twitter. And away we go. And welcome back to the NWA 1984 Project. I am your host, Juan Cena, and with me, as always, is Matt Riley. How you doing tonight, Matt?
I'm dandy.
All right. That's what I like to hear. So, guys, don't forget right off the bat, as I want to mention, make sure you follow us on Twitter. That's at RGW Games Presents. I'm a good follow. Right now, we are at 2,674 follows. Hopefully, you get to $3,000 by the end of this month. Hopefully. We'll see how it goes. Check us out on Twitter. Again, I'm very active on there. I can answer any questions you guys have and what have you. So just make sure you catch us on Twitter. In terms of this episode takes place live from Tokyo, Japan. And this will be our All Japan Pro Wrestling Super Show along with the NWA. So enjoy that. Main event of this show is the Giant Baba taking on Bruno Sammartino. And right off the bat, you're like, what is happening? I think a lot of people forget that Bruno wasn't in the WWF in early 1984. He would come back later on that year to host Championship Wrestling with Vince McMahon. But at this point, he's not there. So, since Baba and Bruno Sammartino are such great friends, that we're going to give Bruno Sammartino one last big retirement match, and he's going to face his good friend, the Giant Baba. That's going to be the main event of this particular show. In addition, you'll see Bruiser Brody defend the NWA World Heavyweight Championship against one of my all-time favorites, Jumbo Tsuruta. So, welcome to Japan, everyone. It's going to be great. If you haven't watched the show before, so I'll give you a little insight of what exactly we are doing here on the NWA 1984 Project. Now, the 1984 Project is a continuation of the NWA 1983 Project, is where we try to answer the question, what would happen if the NWA got their shit together, rallied under one man, and went national themselves? 1984, we're in year 2, and the state of wrestling is like this. Currently, in our fictitious fantasy world, there are 2 mega NWA territories, NWA West Coast, which is based out of Los Angeles, and NWA East Coast, which is based out of Charlotte. Crockett will be running East Coast. Now that territory is basically from Baltimore to Puerto Rico. So Jim Crockett Promotions would absorb the Georgia Championship Wrestling office and the Florida office, and would have a association with WWC with Carlos Colon in Puerto Rico. Now, NWA West Coast, based out of Los Angeles, would include Portland, San Francisco, Los Angeles, San Diego, Kansas City, and St. Louis. The NWA West Coast, under my steadfast leadership, would combine and make this mega territory. In addition, we have Mid-South Wrestling. We have CWA, the Memphis promotion, and World Class Championship Wrestling. They will form their own kind of mega promotion in their attempt to go national. We still have the WWF and we have the AWA, respectfully, at this point. In addition, you have your international promotions of EMML and New Japan and All Japan as well. All Japan being an affiliate of the NWA, so is the MML. So that's where we stand right now. The champions consist of Bruiser Brody as the NWA World Champion. We have Brad Armstrong is the NWA World Television Champion. World Tag Team Champions are the Road Warriors. National Tag Team Champions currently are Outlaw Ron Bass and Black Bart. The United States Tag Team Champions are the Guerreros, Hector and Chavo Guerrero. The NWA National Champion is Dusty Rhodes. The NWA Mid-Atlantic Champion is Ric Flair. The NWA United States Champion is Ricky Steamboat. The NWA Pacific Northwest Champion is Rowdy Piper. So that's basically all our championships that we have currently going on. Now, obviously, the United States Championship will be defended on the West Coast. The National Championship will be defended on the East Coast. And Bruiser Brody, as our touring NWA Champion, will defend his championship all throughout the United States. People are probably wondering why exactly are we doing this particular time frame? Why we're not doing Attitude Era or ECW or modern day wrestling. Is that me personally, as a fan, I am obsessed with the death of the territories and the WWF expansion. So, like, I'm really into, like, 1982, 1983, 1984, up until your first WrestleMania. And I've been trying to gather as much knowledge and information about this time frame as humanly possible. I've been listening to various podcasts and what have you. I'm really looking forward to Tim Hornbacker's Death of the Territories book that's going to be released next month in September. He's going to chronicle the death of the territories and the expansion of the WWF. And I think that book's going to answer a lot of my questions that I have or some of the stuff I don't understand. But I guess, when we talk about the death of the territories, it kind of really starts in the early 80s. So you're talking about kind of like 1982. There's territories that are doing exceedingly well, and there's territories who are not doing exceedingly well. So where we have, WWF is doing well, AWA they're going to have their best year in 83. Mid-South is going to have a fantastic year in 84. But you also have territories like LA. LA is dead. You have Detroit, that's dead. You have St. Louis and Kansas City, which might as well be fucking dead. So you have a lot of elements at work here. Then you have the issues down in Georgia. Georgia's not long for this world, and they're on TBS. You have Southwest getting thrown off of USA Network, and that's how the WWF gets their long-standing relationship with the USA Network. So we have a lot of things that are going on. 83 is probably the best year for World Class. That's when you have the Freebrooks and Von Erichs doing their thing. So from the outside looking in, it's like, how did the territories die if a lot of their major promotions are doing so well? That's where we're looking for answers. We're trying to figure out, when we look at Vince's expansion, it's like, there's no way that should have worked. People at the time didn't think it was going to work. Yeah. Dave Meltzer didn't think it would work because they were looking at the wrestling. Vince McMahon didn't win because of his wrestling. We can all sit here and say that, 1982 WWF wasn't putting the best in-ring product out there. I live in New York, Matt lives in Boston. So, we're very familiar with the WWF style. Being in the Northeast, we got all the wrestling. There wasn't stuff that we didn't necessarily see. You know what I mean? Like, we had pretty decent cable coverage up here. So we saw AWA. We saw Crockett. We saw Georgia on TBS. This is stuff that we saw. It wasn't like, up here we didn't see any of that stuff. But, WWF was running up here. And I think a lot of the promoters, like Ole Anderson's their wrestling sucks. And no one's going to buy this shit. It's going to fail. So I think instead of protecting their territory, it's like, we're just going to let Vince spend all his money and he'll go out of business. And I think that was the thought process. That was wrong. Basically whooped everyone's ass. He ended up buying Georgia. He ended up taking over Wrestling of the Chase from St. Louis. He got on USA Network. He got on TBS. Was able to create a large syndication network where his product is being seen nationwide. And no one thought this was going to work. Now, his expansion starts in 82. So, essentially, he buys the promotion from his dad. And I use buy in air quotes here because he really didn't buy anything. He bought it and then paid it back with the profits from the wrestling company. So he technically didn't buy anything. In most cases, you can say he was gifted the promotion or inherited the promotion. Is probably more accurate. But he goes national by going into LA. LA is the first market they get, which is amazing because LA is a major market. How the hell is the NWA not protecting that? You're just going to let Vince run in there? You're not going to have an office in there? I know the labels are in there, but it's like, They're not doing much of anything. You're going to let Vince run in the second biggest market in the United States without any fight, any competition on there? Like, seriously? And it goes back to my point that I've made on prior episodes. That I don't think the NWA was necessarily built to fight a big company like the WWF. Because it goes back to the beginning. When the AWA and the WWF left the NWA, there was no fight. The NWA didn't automatically put a brand new office in Minneapolis and New York. They let them fucking have it. Like, here you go. Now, the WWF would be in and out of the NWA. You know, they would come back and then leave again. They come back and they would leave. AWA never came back. You know, so it's like they didn't go to Minneapolis to fight Vern. They just like, oh, let it go. But they were able to fight territory, guys sneaking into their territories. They weren't built to fight someone going national like that. You know, but Vince had a large territory that had a lot of money in a major metropolis, area, and I don't think they were equipped to fight that. And you had the rise of cable television. If Vince didn't go national, someone else would, because everyone was prepping to go national. World Class was prepping to go national. Mid-South was prepping to go national. AWA was prepping to go national. Like, AWA is already running San Francisco and Vegas at this point.
The Cow Palace.
Vern bought a percentage of St. Louis. How are you going to have someone who runs a rival promotion buy in to your home base promotion?
Yeah. That's
insane. How'd that even happen? Like, what are you guys doing? There was infighting, there was betrayal, there's Ole trying to run places that he's not supposed to run. You have guys trying to expand, and they got into problems. You had Mid-South. Now, Mid-South wasn't in the NWA, but they had an NWA affiliation. But fucking Bill Watson didn't care. He's like, I'm going to go run in Dallas and not give a shit. He built an office in Dallas. Like, what are you doing? And you had guys that were NWA stalwarts that were kind of betrayed by the NWA. Now, you have the Goulas-Jarrett war in Memphis. Goulas was the established promoter in the NWA. Jarrett is the guy that broke away and formed his own outlaw promotion. But instead of backing Goulas, they backed Jarrett instead. That's not supposed to happen. When Ole went into Cincinnati, they backed Ole. They didn't back the Sheik. They threw the Sheik out of the NWA. So it's like, well, what are we doing? The concept of the NWA was to protect the territories. Now there's a thought of like, hey, listen, if you can't handle your shit, then someone else needs to go in there. I get that. But, these guys weren't competent in terms of business and were expanding to that degree. So it was easy pickings for Vince. Now, Vince is very astute, and he doesn't care about stabbing someone in the back, betraying someone, paying to be put on television. He didn't care. He was going national.
Right.
He didn't give a shit about the old rules. The old guard was just done. Again, he's a young guy coming in, and whatever old alliances and old loyalties, they're thrown out the window. Fuck this shit. And I think, his aggressiveness and his ability not to play by the rules, in air quotes, gave him an distinct advantage. He learned, Vince, a lot of people like, Vince had some mentors. Now, we talk about Dick Ebersol being a mentor of Vince's in terms of production. Vince went over to New Japan, and New Japan really kind of started wrestling merchandise. Because Japan is all about fucking merchandising over there. You know what I mean? In general, not just in terms of professional wrestling. Vince saw the t-shirts and what the calendars and the cards and what they're doing. Was like, we got to bring this fucking back. So he brought a lot of those concepts back from Japan. We forget how much time Vince spent over in New Japan. So it's like, he took all these things and was able to, if his wrestling weren't drawing, he's still fucking selling t-shirts. You know what I mean? And wrestling albums and all this other shit. Yeah. So when business is bad in terms of drawing a house, he still has other revenue streams. Most of these promoters did not have another revenue stream, so they just went out of business when business went bad. Yeah, there's no choice. So I think Vince was the most prepared. He almost went broke. That's why he sold the TBS TAM slot back to Crockett, because he was about to go broke. WrestleMania fucking almost took all his money. Going national like that is a fucking expensive thing. You flying people from all over the country. That flight from New York to LA is not fucking cheap. It's just not. So in terms of I'm just really kind of fascinated with the whole era. I want to learn more about it. I'm really excited for this book to come out. I'm trying to listen to as many podcasts as possible regarding some of these, about the subject with some of the experts. Can't really use the sheets because the sheets, although they were around, they weren't really covering this as much because Meltzer started in '83, so there's not a lot of information in terms of the sheets, so we can't really go back and look at those all that much. But there's a lot of books coming out that's going to document this, and I'm super excited about it. So can't wait to see what nuggets of information, or because we've always been fed the WWF narrative, which is incorrect. It's like, oh, they decided to go national. Hulk Hogan wins the belt, and they're off and running. It's like they were going national a whole year, before that. They were started going national in '82. Backlund's still the champ. What was their initial plan? Their initial plans, were they trying to go national with Backlund? Was Jimmy Snuka a viable candidate? It's like what were they thinking, because it wasn't necessarily a lock that they were getting Hogan. Now a lot of people will go back, and I mentioned this on this particular show that, well, if Vern just would have paid Hulk and gave Hulk the belt, that he would have never went to WWF. I'm like, that motherfucker was going. He was going to WWF regardless. To be the main eventer in WWF, it was a big fucking deal. So he was going to go regardless. That's where he thought he was going to make most of his money, and it's true. He did make make a fucking ton of fucking money over there. So Matt, what are your thoughts on WWF national expansion and the death of the territories in general?
Well, I do feel that it was a combination of many things, but I think it was McMahon's willingness to go into the future as opposed to just the way things were. It's like a promotion, and this sounds awful in a way, but a lot of indie promotions, you see the promoter's the top guy, they're putting themselves over with a title, and they're not really putting the best person on display. And I think as a whole, the companies across the country had that. And you had McMahon just go, well, we're going to break the way things done and do it the right way to make it successful, Right. Which is why I really think even nowadays, I think the thing that they need to push them is a rival.
Yeah.
Because we've seen that without a rival to push them, they're not as good as they should be.
Right.
And I think one of the biggest things is, not to jump topics per se, but you heard what Seth Rollins said the other day?
Regarding
that they can't keep bringing The Rock back every year.
Yeah.
That it's got to be our time, and I think that's part of the process. Like, you look at the way a lot of the shows in the old days were. There was the same guys always on top. It was Bruno, it was Backlund, and then you had the mold started to change. And I think even now, like if you look at the business, because there was no rival to push them, like when the NWA was WCW were pushing them, they were doing back and forth, and Rollins is a point. In that you're never going to have the next big star if you're constantly rolling guys out. And I know, like, my one thing about Cena is I really wish he had more of a deeper lasting, like, he's been gone. Have you missed him?
No.
And that's sort of the thing. It's like, and good, he's doing movies and he's successful, but I really feel that, the repercussions of the 80s are still being felt today, where McMahon has that, like, kill all the competition mentality. Yeah. It's like, no, you need someone out there to push you. If you have a monopoly, which he does, for all, essentially, New Japan's really kind of making a run, and Ring of Honor, their whole show where they're, sold out the Garden. Just saying.
Yeah. I'll be going to that show, by the way. I already bought my ticket, so I'll be sitting. I have floor seats for that show, so I'm going to be row 16, and I'm right next to the guardrail, so which is sweet. Which is actually kind of really close to where I sat at WrestleMania, the Garden of WrestleMania 20, so I'm super excited about that. But yeah, I mean, you look at building the next guy, right?
Yeah.
You notice Hogan wins the belt. Backlund's not there very much longer after Hogan wins the belt. Like, he gone. So these guys got to move out of the way. And I think it's one of the things about modern wrestling is that you got guys in the roster for fucking 10 to 12 years. No fucking breaks. Back in the day, you had guys jumping from one company to another, and it keeps them fucking fresh. But yeah, you guys see the same guys on fucking TV all the fucking time. And the WWE currently has one of the best rosters assembled, in the history of professional wrestling. I love their roster. I can't watch a Monday Night Raw because it gives me the shits. I can't. I don't like to sit here and fucking criticize WWE all that much, but it comes up. I don't like, this is my personal opinion. I don't like their storylines. I don't like their boring ass show. And I don't like the production values. I don't hate watch things. I don't sit there and I'm like, I'm going to watch Wall so I can fucking make fun of it on fucking Twitter. Like, no. Like, I follow it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, what happened? Oh, okay. If there's a cool match that I want to see, I'll watch that particular match. I will not sit there and watch an entire episode of Monday Night Raw. It's just not going to happen. The show isn't very good. That's the bottom line. Watch pay-per-views if there's something interesting going on that, but that's what it is. I'm not going to sit here, and watch it. Like, why?
Right.
I don't hate watch things. I'd rather watch something I'd rather take my Monday nights and I'll watch Georgia Championship Wrestling from 1980 instead. You know what I mean? Fuck. I think that's what a lot of people have to do, because people, if you watch wrestling just to fucking shit on it, then I don't think you're necessarily a fan. I don't know what you are. I'm not going to do that, because that seems ridiculous to me. I'm super curious to find out more information about the expansion era, the death of the territories, because there's a little bit out there already, and there's information out there to be had, and I'm going to track it all down, because I need to know exactly how this went down. And how come necessarily no one's been able to recreate it? No one's been able to do it since, so... Speaking of that Ring of Honor New Japan show, I thought it was brilliant on their part to put tickets on sale so fucking early.
Yeah.
Like, their tickets are on sale before TakeOver. So, like, I want to get my tickets now. Because, the shit's fucking sold out. It's sold out. You can't even get tickets now. So, I think it was a brilliant strategy on their part to put their tickets on sale before they put the tickets on sale for TakeOver that's going on the same night. So, I think it's a brilliant... Which, I don't understand why the WWF could not do it, because TakeOver's tomorrow in New York. You're not going to put tickets on sale for the next TakeOver, necessarily. Because it's still kind of early. Tickets for WrestleMania usually goes on sale around September, November. September in the fall. So, it made sense for them. And Ring of Honor has to sell out the Garden. Holy fucking shit. That's fucking history, people. Whether you like them or you don't. And I'm not necessarily the biggest Ring of Honor fan currently. I love New Japan. But I'm not the biggest Ring of Honor fan, because I think their roster is a little light right now, a little thin. There's not a lot of depth to it. So... But I'm going to that fucking show. I'm going to the Women's Evolution show in the Nassau Coliseum, because that's history. I want to be there for history. Stuff like that's important to me. So speaking of history, we're going to do a wrestler spotlight on Stan the Lariat Hansen.
I don't know where Hansen is, as long as he's not out here. I'm a happier man. He carries...
This is our guest, Mr. Stan Hansen.
Don't invite me down here!
Mr. Stan Hansen from Texas.
Stupid security guard out there! He won't let me in this station! He said my name's gotta be on some list! Well, I've got him laying in the gutter right now because he smart-mouthed me! Nobody does what I say! Let me tell you something, Zabisco! It's an honor and a privilege to get up here, because I want to tell everybody out there in America all about Stan Hansen and the quest for the AWA Championship and Rick Martel. I just get mad when people
Sit down and behave yourself.
It takes advantage of me. I'm not going to stand it.
I'm telling these people that you are the most devastating man in professional wrestling. Tell these people exactly how many times you've been fined and suspended.
I'm not talking about
This
fighting.
man does not care. This is what I'm trying to say.
The AWA and Rick Martel. Let me tell you something. You people stop me down here. All these stupid TV people and everything, they're always jumping on you trying to establish rules. Well, they tried to do that in the AWA, the NWA, and all these other places. But nobody controls me, Jack. Nobody controls me. I'm the one that goes all over the world, and I beat people up. I'm not in a big ego rush. I'm not after all the bright lights and the little women. I got a big fat wife and 9 kids at home, and I gotta feed them. And anybody that takes money out of my pocket, Larry Zabisco, I'm gonna get him. Get out of here.
You know, and you gotta hand it to this man. This man.
I'm not gonna stand for it. I'm not standing for it. Stan Hansen, the bad man from Borger, Texas. Brother, I'm coming at you.
So Matt, before we get too much into this, what are your thoughts on Stan Hansen right off the bat?
Oh man,
He should have won an Academy Award for his role in No Holds Barred, by the way.
yes. I think that he was a fantastic character wrestler as well. You know, I will still to this day remember the pictures, the images of him, like, you know, screaming, and like the photos in the magazines of him, like with the chaw.
Yeah.
You know, just like spitting like a maniac, and he, you know, of course, his Japan work. Holy moly!
These assassins, Holy and Gene, I'm sick and tired of being taken advantage of. I don't trust nobody. Abdullah, Mark, Lou, and Mephisto, it don't make a difference. Kevin Sullivan, Tommy Rich, brother, I'm going to start looking out for myself. I'm tired of standing back here looking around at everybody. Holy Anderson, Gene Anderson, let me tell you something. Holy, you can take advantage of me. I'm a little dumb, I've always said it, but brother, let me tell you something. I'm one tough SOB, and when I get into the ring, no matter where it is, I'm going to get it.
Fucking Hansen was fucking amazing. You know, he was, 6'4", 321 pounds. Just mean and nasty. He was fucking awesome. Now, Stan Hansen did play football at West Texas State with many wrestling luminaries. He debuted in 1973. He started teaming up with Bruiser Brody in 75. By 1976, he's already main eventing Madison Square Garden against Bruno Sammartino. That's the famous match where Hansen broke Sammartino's neck. I mean, everyone says it was from the lariat, but it was from a power slam, which caused his injury. After that, he spent time, basically in the NWA. We saw him a lot in Georgia.
Tommy Anderson, he was out here earlier talking about somebody running their mouth and couldn't back it up. The bad man, the new year is here, Gordon, and there's all kinds of things going on. The Armstrongs have got the belts, Stan's back, Slater's back. There's a whole lot of things happening. And the big thing is, you talk about law and order, you got Bad Nero around, Big Stan, and just like I said, the New Year's brought it all right here to Georgia.
As indeed, Wrestling 2 and Tommy Rich, Stan Hansen and Wrestling 2, Stan Hansen and Tommy Rich. Anytime Stan Hansen steps on a tag team, there's going to be trouble.
That's true. For about a half year, Tommy's been out here going through living hell, man. People putting bounties on his head. Everybody trying to meet him out back. Nobody's got guts enough. Ole Anderson, that little short, sawed-off dog, this Roddy Piper, this stupid somebody gets shot in the face with a shotgun. And I'll tell you a bunch of other things. This Superstar and Super D, well, let me tell you something. Tommy has got his chance coming up, brother. His chance is going to be settled. Superstar, Super D, Ole Anderson, get ready, because this man's here to stay, Jack.
Gordon, I've got one question. Superstar, Super D, where are you at today, brother? You back there in the back, because just like I said, the New Year's brought it all here. Stan Hansen's back, and just like the man said, I've got my chance coming up. And Superstar, I promise you, I'm going to do well with it. And I don't have to worry about the Super Destroyer, because I'm going to have guys like Stan watching my back. And there's another reason, too.
You know something, Tommy, it's all come down to one thing. One thing is coming up. It's all going to be settled real soon, and Tommy has finally got it what he wants. He's got his type of match, Superstar, Super D. He's got his match, right, Tom?
It all started in the cage, Gordon, and it's going to end in the cage, too.
We'll be right back.
Started in New Japan in 1980. That was his first tour where he was teaming up with Bob Backlund.
In the audience, because you take a look at all these pencil neck geeks out here, and that's just what they are. They're looking at the greatest wrestler in the business today, the meanest, toughest wrestler in all the world, Stan the Lariat Hansen. Tell him, Stan, tell him. I've been watching all these goofy people out here, and when the TV camera turns around, they think that there's something special. Well, everybody knows right out there that I'm something special, and most of all, Bob Backlund knows I'm special. And let me tell you something, Backlund, you've been running easy behind the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, you've been hiding behind the referees, you've been hiding behind the promotion, because you know that I'm a better man. And I don't care where it is, from Timbuktu to California or whatever, I'd like a shot at his belt. I demand one, I deserve one, and by all means, it comes to me with respect, because I am the biggest, baddest man from Texas ever seen, and something Bob Backlund cannot handle.
What kind of champion would Stan Hansen make? One that the people could look up to? What type of man is Stan Hansen
as a champion? Well, definitely they can look up to me because I'm so much bigger and taller than most all these squatty little Yankees around here. They'd have to look up to me. They'd have to look up because I'm the biggest, baddest guy. I demand respect. When I walk in the ring, people stand up. They know they see a champion. They don't want a guy walking around in a coat and tie like Bob Backlund. They want somebody down on the ground, Jack. Somebody that's from the trenches. Well, that's where I come from, and I'm proud of it. That's what makes me so tough, because I'm so damn hungry. I want it. I want it. Bob Backlund, you tasted it. You don't know what it's about. Your head's way above. You're aloof. But I'm right down where it's at, brother. All the street people know where I come from. That's the type of champion I'd be. I'd be right down there with them. All them rednecks out there, they know what type of champion I'd be. Of course, you wouldn't understand that being, whatever that is.
I think we're supposed to be doing the interviewing, if you don't mind, Mr.
Never mind. I manage the man, and I can tell him whatever I want to tell him. No concern of yours what he and I have in strict conference.
Do you mind telling us what you're conferring about?
Yeah, that's right. I'd like to have Backlund. I'd like to get Backlund any place. Let me tell you something. You like Fred Blassie just whispered in my ear? I'd take Blassie anyway. I'll take Backlund anyway. I mean, I'll take that championship any way I can get it. Even like Mr. Blassie just whispered in my ear, as if it was in a steel cage match. A match where the things around where Backlund can't be running. Where Backlund can't be having a bunch of people come in to help us. Where Backlund won't be getting
And what would happen?
That's right. I'd be grabbing his head, boy, and I'd be mashing him right. I'd just be squeezing his face right into that thing. I'd grab him up and take him in right into the post, and he'd be like a big thing of mush. That's what the cage is all about. And this big fat slob over here would be just like Backlund. He'd be down crying for mercy after I leaning his face into those big steel bars. And he'd be bleeding all over the place. It looked like a big plum, a rotten plum.
And what would be happening with Hansen?
Nothing would be happening to me because I'm too damn tough, boy. No steel cage ever bothered me. I just love it. I can see Bob Backlund shaking in his little boots, worrying about it, going into crying to the WWF for some kind of help to get out of it. Oh, if I could just get it, I could just taste it. I can taste it if I had him in a steel cage. Can you imagine what Bob Backlund would be doing, Fred? He'd be crying. He'd be kissing his mama goodbye. He'd be kissing his little girl goodbye because he knows that he might not be coming back. And that's the type of match I like. That's the type of match that made me the toughest SOB that's walking the street. That's the type of toughest guy that's that. And I like that type of match. And Bob Backlund, you can't stomach it because you don't have the damn guts, boy. You don't have the guts. I got the guts and the fortitude. If I had you in a steel cage, I'd get you down and squander you in the ground like that. God, I wish I could get you in one too. You look so nasty. Let me tell you something. Keep taking front.
I think we've heard just about enough of this.
The steel cage, I guarantee you, from one side.
He abruptly left New Japan and went to All Japan Pro Wrestling in 1981. Hansen is the only man ever to pin both Antonio Inoki and the Giant Baba in championship single matches, by the way.
Wow.
So his big thing was the world's strongest tag determination league tournament, which he competed in from 1982 to 1999. Partners being Bruiser Brody, Terry Gordy, Ted DiBiase, Tenryu, Dan Spivey, Bobby Duncan Jr., and Big Van Vader. One of the things when it comes to his Japan work was in the Tokyo Dome, where he knocked out fucking Big Van Vader's eyeball.
Yes. Ugh.
It's because those fucking this swollen shut is fucking ridiculous. In 1990, he had a match in Japan against WWF champion at the time Hulk Hogan, which Hogan ended up beating Stan Hansen. He won his first Triple Crown Heavyweight Championship by defeating Terry Gordy in June of 1990.
Big Stan Hansen, you're talking about 800 and some pounds in that ring. In the honor, you're going down.
Let me tell you something, Road Warriors. I needed a toothpick in the past, but I don't need it no more. Because I got that King Kong Bundy and the Omni Brother. You're going to meet your match. Get ready. The Lariat and the Splash are coming in the Omni. Road Warriors, get ready, brother, because the biggest and the nastiest is going down.
He spent some time in the AWA for about a year. Again, everyone knows the famous story. Stan Hansen wins the belt from Rick Martel.
Stan Hansen, one of the toughest matches I've ever seen you have to go against.
Well, let me tell you something. I never had nothing but tough matches. I gotta give something to you, David Sammartino. Your daddy would be proud of you. But that's what I think of your damn daddy. We're talking about anybody who wants the World's Championship belt. It's Stan Hansen, and here I stand.
Kurt Hennig has issued a challenge to the winner of this match before it took place. So did his tag team partner, Big Scott Hall. So is Leon Baby Bull White. They're all after you.
You know something? First of all, I'm going to celebrate just a little bit. For my little girl Paige back there in Texas, and my boy John, I can finally buy you some new shoes because I won a match. As for all these other guys all around, come on, brother. You know, Kurt Hennig, he was up here a little while ago, a couple weeks back, acting smart, and I damn near put him out of wrestling forever. And he's got that big pumped up, blown-aired Scott Hall coming down. Are they the World Tag Team Champions or what?
Yes, they are.
Well, then why don't they ever wrestle in a tag team? Why are they after me all the time? I'm standing here, but there's a big long line. David Sammartino, you were first. Kurt Hennig, you want to be number 2? Throw your damn name in the pot. Scott Hall, how about you? Hey, Greg Gagne, maybe you can come out too. Whatever the case may be, everybody all over the world knows Stan Hansen. I'm controversial, but I'm damn mean, and I'm gonna keep this belt, the world belt.
Dan the Lariat Hansen.
He starts no-showing matches. He had issues with Vern and the Japan thing, and basically he never came back. So he left as a champion. And there's the famous story about when Vern asked him for the title back, he fucking put it out in his farm, fucking ran over it with his fucking Jeep, his pickup truck, and set the belt back with the fucking mud and shit still on it.
No, why was he so mad at Vern about that?
Basically, because you know how Vern is with Japan, he's probably asked him, I want a piece of your Japan money, and Sam was probably like, no, go fuck yourself. It's Vern in 1985. He's pissing everyone off.
Yeah.
The first time I saw Stan Hansen was in 1990 in WCW. He's feuding with Lex Luger over the United States Heavyweight Championship.
Lex Luger, in just a few seconds, you're gonna have to deal with me once and for all. And this represents little old Lexi. You make me sick. You get ready for the bell and not be ready for the jack-o'-lantern and all these other things, because in a few seconds, I'm bringing that bell out there, and I'm going to take that title, and I'm going to take it all the way back to Texas.
Hansen did defeat Luger to win the title at Halloween Havoc.
This Danger Zone is coming to you from Halloween Havoc live backstage, and I've told all you people before that Stan Hansen drinks the hard stuff. And I'm not talking about any kind of alcohol, because he ain't no alcoholic. He drinks the tears of the little fans of the Total Package Lex Luger, as all the little kids cried their eyes out when their big, bad hero could not stop the onslaught of the bad man from Borger, Texas, Stan Hansen.
3.78 grade average, the thinking man's wrestler. But here he cannot be the thinking man's wrestler. He's got to survive this onslaught, and no one in World Championship Wrestling has been able to do it thus far, as Gary Capetta gives the 5-minute call.
Take a look at Hansen. Now, this is what you call a thinking man's wrestler. He's wearing down Lex Luger. Look at Luger. Let's give him credit. Maybe the most decisive, vicious, the most superbly conditioned athlete. We're back here at Halloween Havoc in the winner's circle, and my guest, and I knew he could do it, is the new United States Heavyweight Champion, Stan the Lariat Hansen. You beat Lex Luger. I want to shake your hand. I ain't shaking your hand, and I'm not shaking nobody's hand. I'm World Championship Wrestling's worst nightmare. I'm the guy who does what I want to do whatever I've always wanted to do, anytime, any place. I ain't going to defend this belt until I think it's good and ready. I might take this belt to Japan. I might take it back to Texas and sit on it, put it out there in the barn, shoot holes in it. I'm going to do whatever they want. And they can't control me because you know why? Why? You know why? Because I've always done exactly what I wanted to do. Nobody's been able to control me. All these years in wrestling, nobody has ever told me what to do. If they tried, I just left. I just went into hiding. They had to come looking for me. Well, they might have to come looking for me. I might not ever put that belt up.
You know, Mr. Hansen, you know, Jim Ross and Schiavone and all these other idiots. No, whoa, wait, now, hold it. It's not me asking you this question, but they want to know if you're going to defend that title against Lex Luger.
Luger, he makes me sick. I beat him now. He's probably crying the blue, gone home, and his wife's crying, his babies are crying, everybody's crying because he lost that belt. You know what, Luger, I got this belt, and I'm not going to give you another chance. You don't deserve one, and you ain't getting one. How's that?
Yeah, how's that? I'm glad I asked him that question. Man, please don't let him shoot the bat.
Although he lost it to him at the following Starrcade in a bull rope match. At that point, he's mainly in All Japan at this point. You know, there's the famous stories that, yeah, he was coming for these small shots, but the money in Japan was way too good for him because he was basically, you know, one of the top guys, if not the top guy in All Japan for a long time, making tons of fucking money. So there was no need for him to wrestle, you know, really wrestle regularly in the United States at that time. So
that's the day everybody's wanting to remember. I'm not going to remember it. I don't care about September 18th. I could care less. But Terry Funk is going to call me up on September 17th and tell me that I've got a date in Pennsylvania on the 18th. September 18th is when Eddie Gilbert and Abdullah the Butcher are going to have to come to grips with Stan Hansen and Terry Funk as partners. The people all over pro wrestling world, from Japan all over the United States, have never seen Stan Hansen and Terry Funk in the ring together. But on September the 18th, let me mention that one more time. September the 18th, Abdullah's going to see us together. He's never seen us, and he's fought us from everywhere in the world. So Eddie Gilbert, get your main man, Abdullah. Terry Funk and I are going to be there. We're going to show up, and we're going to show you what it's like to have a real rope match, Texas style.
Like I mentioned before, Stan Hansen did appear in the movie No Holds Barred, starring Hulk Hogan. So you had this guy that we see mostly in the NWA or the AWA. He's in the movie with Hulk Hogan. That's because him and Hulk Hogan are friends. So I'm surprised they never brought in Hansen. You know, they probably tried, but he's making way too much money in Japan. Because a Hansen-Hogan feud like in 1989, 1990 would have drawn money.
Sterling Golden in a very impressive victory over two men. There you see Stan Hansen coming out, and wait a minute, we have something going on here. We have a confrontation now between Tony Atlas and Sterling Golden, and we could have some problems right here and now. And he's asking to get into the ring right now. Golden just defeated two men, and quite a confrontation. He wants a contract. Well, I'll tell you what, that Sterling Golden is a big and impressive individual, Stan.
That's right. Anybody stands up here and says the guy's not big, nasty, and strong, he just went out there and beat two guys, you know. He is big and strong, but there's a lot of big and strong people around here that aren't afraid to get in the ring. A guy like Tony Atlas, Tommy Rich, myself, we'd be happy to get in that ring with Sterling Golden and test that orange squeeze of his out. I like to test it out. I don't think it's that tough.
Well, I'll tell you what. First of all, let me remind everybody that we'll be wrestling this coming Monday night in Madison. Also, this coming Thursday night in Marietta at the Cobb County Civic Center. The World Heavyweight Champion will be there. And Friday night at the Omni, you're going to have your chance, Stan.
That's right. You bring the golden squeeze, because I'm going to bring the lariat at the Omni. Friday night, you try to strap it on me, because I'm big and nasty, too, and I'll get right down with you. And the lariat's coming Friday night at the Omni. The lariat against the golden squeeze. We'll see.
Tommy, you and Tony Atlas.
Yes, sir. Friday night. It's been a while since we've done it together. You know, we used to be an old team. They called us TNT, and that meant dynamite. We got superstar Billy Graham and Mr. Austin Idol, the Heartthrob. Well, Mr. Heartthrob, you bring it down Friday night and bring that superstar, too, because I got a...
Well, you know, superstar Billy Graham, he had one go round with me, and he thought he was going to escape. But you let me tell you something. I got my main man, Tommy Rich, here, superstar. You really got Austin Idol, another muscle man. I really got TNT.
All right, Friday night. Bring it on, superstar. There you have it, Friday night at the Omni.
So that is Stan Hansen in a nutshell. Next up, let's quickly talk about the Giant Baba. Matt, what are your thoughts on the Giant Baba in general?
I was never a big fan of his.
Do you prefer Andre over Baba?
Yeah, I think it's just his look was so weird. I think the closest I can come to nowadays is he was a taller, goofier looking Zack Sabre.
Okay.
No, I just know.
When was the first time you saw him? Was it Crockett Cup?
Yes.
He teamed with Tiger Mask?
Yeah. It just, I was like, oh, all right, whatever. But it just didn't really.
So are you a Inoki guy over Baba?
Oh yeah, definitely.
The thing about Baba, we saw a lot of him in the United States because when they brought back tapes from Japan, it's usually matches with Baba involved in some way. The big difference between Baba and Inoki is that Baba knew when to start putting himself in the mid card. Eventually, he became a comedy babyface. Towards the end of his run, where Inoki is still beating guys, although he's past, essentially past his prime, and people are already tired of him. But Baba knew it was like, oh, it's time for me to drop myself down the card. So.
東京ドーム日米レスリングサミットの最新情報ついに東洋の巨人ジャイアント馬場と世界の大巨人アンドレス・ジャイアントのタッグが実現2人合わせて 4m32cm ほとんどキリン並みの超巨人コンビの誕生だ
Hi, recognize me? It's me, Andre the Giant. And I'll be back very soon at the Tokyo Dome. 今回、初めてね、アンデとタッグを組むことになりました。4月13日、頑張ります。どうぞご期待ください。
So, John Baba began training in April 1960. He was trained by Ricky Dozan. Before that, he was a professional baseball player for the Yomiuri Giants. He was a top guy in Japan at the Japanese Wrestling Association, the JWA. Basically, Ricky Dozan at that point was grooming Baba to be his successor. Baba started wrestling for the WWF in the early 60s. He challenged the NWA World Champion Buddy Rogers for the world title and returned to face Bruno Sammartino for the WWF World Championship in 1963. This is where Sammartino defeated Baba. He's definitely the biggest star in Japan post Ricky Dozan. He was known at the time from 1967 to 1971 with his tag team with him and Inoki. That was a big draw. They won the first NWA International Championship in October of 1967, beating Bill Watts and Tarzan Tyler. They were going to hold that championship for 4 times. A record that Baba would later break with another tag team partner, Jumbo Shiruda. A lot of people think that they split and the Japan Wrestling Association became All Japan, but that's not true. Inoki left and he formed another promotion, but then eventually formed New Japan. Baba left the JWA and formed All Japan. So they had split. JWA wasn't long for this world. They would eventually evaporate. Essentially right off the bat, All Japan became the NWA affiliate in Japan. This is because they had the back Nippon TV, which is one of the biggest channels over in Japan. It's probably the biggest channel, at this time. Baba became the first Japanese wrestler ever to hold the NWA World Title. He defeated Jack Briscoe in 2 out of 3 falls in 1974. He would also, defeat Harley Race for that championship as well. But by 1984, he started phasing himself out to give rise to the next generation of wrestlers like Jumbo Shiruda and Tenryu. And looking at interviews with Baba and some of the goofy stuff he's saying, I think he was a comedian. You know what I mean? I thought, he looked like a funny guy because he wasn't afraid to poke fun himself, especially as he got older. So you see like a lot of goofy like Japanese Baba commercials and.
君が本当になりたかった職業はピアニスト。信じる？
会社選びの確かなレーダー。
週刊就職情報。おっきいババちゃんはおっきいだけですか？おっきいぞ。
おいしいぞ。グリコジャイアントコーン。おっきいだけじゃない。
これが美味しい唐揚げを作るためのポイント。詳しくはパッケージの裏をご覧ください。いい唐揚げ粉使ってますか？日清製粉唐揚げ粉。
It's fucking awesome. So, the Giant Baba ended up passing away in 1999. His wife, Mrs. Baba, would control the promotion for a little bit longer until all Japan's decline in general. Right now, they're like a glorified indie promotion in Japan, which is sad. So, what are you gonna do there? That is the Giant Baba in general, in a nutshell. I guess we have to talk about it. I didn't really want to talk about it, but I guess we have to talk about it. Dave Meltzer got in some heat this week about some comments he made on his podcast about Peyton Royce. It's funny to me, in general, these situations. You have a situation where someone says something, they were called out about it. The person who said about it called them out. He apologized. And then there's the outlash. The outrage. It's fucking nuts, right? And then there's people...
I'm offended.
You have people outraged. You have other people who are outraged regarding the outrage. You have people who's outraged on the outrage of the outrage. And to me, it's completely ridiculous, completely insane. I want to paraphrase what he said. He essentially said that he felt that Peyton Royce was more attractive when she was lighter in NXT. Now, I'm going to sit here and kind of explain what he was trying to say, but the way I took that, and if you read the Observer of any kind of regularity, you would have an understanding of this. What he meant is that he preferred the way she looked before she got the breast implants, is what he meant to say. He didn't say that. And I'm not going to sit here and police his words. He probably should have said it. You know, if he would have said it like, I liked a better pre-boob job, I don't think a lot of this heat would have fucking happened to him.
Right.
But it goes on to a couple of larger issues here that we were going to have to discuss. She took it as that, oh, you're on the main roster, you're no longer attractive because you look like you gained some weight. Or if you look at Peyton Royce, like, where the hell is she gaining weight at? I don't see the difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah, her response was so like just the automatic snap to, oh, you know, like relax for a second. You know, think of what's being said here. You know, everyone wants to snap, and like I always feel people in life want to have like this moment to snap and be all crazy. And what I always entertain is like people also get upset on the other side of the coin when they feel like, well, you know, I can't express what I want to express. Well, he shouldn't be going around saying like the boob job thing. Just you could say something that you feel, you know, like if you want to put it in a way to say it, say that you feel that women shouldn't have to get a boob job to be in the company. If that's how you want to put it.
Because there's a lot of different things at work here. You have number one, you have the outrage culture in general, right? They're looking for motherfuckers to fuck up, right? That goes again with the white knighting, which is weird. I saw someone, and I was following this on Twitter and what have you. I had someone who was fucking shitting on Dave. And at the same time, they're posting Alexa Bliss booty pics.
Right.
Constantly. Like once every 25 minutes. So I'm like, is it because of what he said, or is it because it's Dave? Now, Dave gets heat, you know, that's the bottom line. There's no two ways about that. And that's what you got to be careful of. Is like, are you trashing this guy because he deserved it? Or are you trashing this guy because of who he is?
Right.
Now, should Dave said it? Probably not. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say, like, you know, if it was me, I would have cut it out post-production. You know? Because shit fucking slips out every once in a while. It's one thing when you say it, when you listen to it back, you can see how it comes across. And if something doesn't come across the way I mean it to come across, I cut it. No, I don't want anyone misunderstanding me. Clearly, Peyton misunderstood what he was trying to say. Right? And then you have all the wrestlers coming out in support of Peyton, which is great to the degree. We'll get into that in a second. So you have your outrage culture, you have your gotcha culture, you have your white knighting involved. Then you have, you know, the anti-Meltzer people, which includes wrestlers, podcasters, wannabe podcasters, wannabe sheet journalists, and you know, there's people who dislike him for various reasons. They're out in full force. To me, I think overall, we'll get back to that. Not defending what he said. I want to make sure that we're 100% clear on that. I'm not excusing what he said. He apologized. He felt personally that he said something wrong and he apologized for it. That's the bottom line. Now, whether you're going to accept that apology or not, that's on you. That's not on me.
Yeah, I noticed some people were chiming in on things
your apology is not good enough. Okay, all right,
and he would respond, and they were like, "It's not about me." Then shut the fuck up. Right. Don't fucking chime in. Shut your fucking mouth. Like, I hate the people that just want to get involved, but they have nothing to offer, and it's like, it's not your fucking business. Shut the fuck up.
You know, it's strange to me. And then you have people who are outraged by the outrage, and then you have people who are outraged by the outrage. So it's like, it's just everyone's mad. Everyone is just mad, right? Now, for me personally, my personal taste, I don't really look at wrestlers' physiques, right? Men, women, whatever, right? If I really wanted to look at scantily clad women's, there's options for me out there to do that. I don't really necessarily need it in my wrestling. You know what I mean? The people say sex sells and sex in wrestling. It's like, why? I can watch an adult film that's 10 times better than whatever I can see on wrestling. So it's like, I never get that aspect of it. Never been a big guy like, oh, that guy, I like him because he has big muscles. I've never been one of those guys either.
Look at that night, right? The night before this all blew up. Dean Ambrose comes back and looks like he spent the last X amount of months in the gym.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, look how big he is. And then, you have Sami Zayn, the guy who looks like he just, walks by the gym. But it's the thing, it's like a physical sport. And if you compare, if you look at someone like Randy Orton, who obviously is dedicated and spends a lot of time, being in the gym, it reflects. And, you can take anybody in that roster. And if you follow Rip Rogers, he's always talking about there's someone out there who's going to work harder than you will if you don't put the work in.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is. Now, for getting back to her body changes, was she doing that because she wanted to? Well, obviously she wanted to at some point, or she wouldn't have done it. But was her motivation because she wanted to compete with the others? It's like the old steroid argument about baseball.
I wonder. I know Charlotte was on ESPN today talking about this very subject, and I wish one of the guys on ESPN would ask her the question. Ask her the question: have you ever felt pressured by the WWE to change your body? No one asked that question of her. It was a softball interview. I get that, and you're promoting SummerSlam, but it came up. And it's like the question is like, has the WWE put pressure on you to get a boob job? Have they paid for your boob job? Have they promised pushes if you change your body?
Right. Didn't Charlotte just get a boob job?
No, she broke one and they had to fix it.
She broke one?
Yeah, she had broke one. She had to fix it. So that's the question, because people had said that back in the day. You know how Vince is, especially when it comes to physiques.
Right.
And whether it be indirect pressure or even direct pressure, these guys get on steroids. You know what I mean? Not excusing what Dave said at all. But he comments on, oh, this guy looks like he's on the gas. This guy looks like he's not on the gas. Right? It's going to come up in conversation. And I think it's not a false equivalency. A false equivalency is what Charlotte said about, they talk about a guy's hair versus her boobs. We're not talking about that. It's a false equivalency. We're talking about enhancing your body to get a push.
Right.
Any kind of surgery has a risk and is dangerous involved. Taking steroids is definitely a risk and dangers involved in doing that. Should they feel pressure to do that? Do you think that it's strange? And there's another thing to look at here. That it seemed like all the WWE stars came out and strongly defended Peyton, when historically they don't really do that.
Right.
The last time we've seen this kind of effort was when Conor McGregor said bad stuff about wrestling, and they came out. So was this a directive by the WWE to say Meltzer's fair game? Fucking shit on this motherfucker.
Yep.
It's possible. That's very possible. If so, we have different issues at work here. So, at the end of the day, Dave said something he should have said. He apologized. We need to give people an ability to have redemption here, or to make things right. Because if we do, there's no incentive to apologize or change your behavior. If you do something wrong, say, "Oh, I'm sorry," and someone says, "Fuck you." Well, next time you do something wrong, it's like, fuck it, they're going to be mad at me anyway. It doesn't make a difference. So it's going to be, people who hate Meltzer are going to hate him. People who love Meltzer are going to love us. They're going to love Meltzer. The rest of us are in the middle. We're like, it's like the Hogan thing. Did you hear what Hogan said? You hear what Hogan said recently?
No.
Paraphrasing here, he said something like, if there's wrestlers out there who do not accept my policy, then they don't understand the brotherhood of wrestling.
Okay.
What the fuck does that mean? Are you saying that if people don't accept your apology, they're dickheads? You can apologize in the same boat that we say that, like, hey, we have to have a pathway for redemption, right? People technically don't have to accept your apology. They don't have to treat you like shit, but they're like, oh, fuck this guy, I don't want nothing to do with him. That's one story. If people want to say, oh, fuck Dave, I don't want nothing to do with him, that's one story. But, it's weird to me. It's like, Hulkster, shut the fuck up, man. Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. You're going to fuck this shit up. You're going to fuck this comeback up. You're going to piss people off. Just don't say anything. Although I'm the one, I said it on this show, and I'm 100% positive that he's bringing back the NWO, by the way. That's going to happen. I'm serious. Look for it. It'll be there. I said it 3 weeks ago. He's going to bring back the NWO. He's going to come back as Hollywood Hogan as a heel, by the way. Okay. And that's what's going to happen. So, internet's a weird place. I don't know what to think anymore about anything. People are looking for reasons to be mad, which is weird. I don't know. Watch what you say. I say it all the time. Words matter. So just, it does. You can't say wild shit no more. And people get mad because they can't say wild shit. People get mad they can't be casually racist. People get mad that they can't. People are mad that they can't be offensive. There's like, I'm sorry that bothers you.
You know what it is? It's the people that get mad at that are comfortable in where they are, and they don't want to have to put the mental work in to catch themselves.
Right.
For example, it can be something as simple as like, when we grew up, retarded was a very common phrase kids said all the time. And then you grew up and you changed. And that's the thing about people forget about life, is you evolve over time. And if you don't evolve, you stick out even more because you're the one that's not changing. And it's sort of like, if you ever had construction in an area, right, and you had to go a different way or drive a certain way, and like now it's like, okay, it's a pain in the butt, I got to do it. It's just how it is. You got to change the times, and if you don't, you're a relic, and people will pass you. And this is a whole other thing in the country as it is now, anyways. But people are going to get passed. It's just gonna happen.
Like remember when you were able to smoke anywhere? You can smoke at your desk at your job. You can smoke in the supermarket. You can smoke in your kid's school. You can smoke in the doctor's office. You can smoke on a plane. And then eventually, you couldn't smoke anywhere anymore.
Right.
And in some cases, you can't be outside and smoke in a park. You know what I mean?
Hey, remember, I remember going to clubs and bars and coming home and taking a shower because I stank like cigarettes.
Yeah.
I had to put my clothes on the porch because they stank so bad.
Yeah. Like, it's the same thing. It's literally the same thing.
So, in a context to bring it back to the Dave thing, if you want to make a comment about someone getting a boob job, you can make it that, is this another person who bent to pressure to do this?
Right.
Or is this something they want? I mean, people get breast implants all the time and they want to do it, and that's fine.
Right.
But I think if you do it because you feel that if you don't, you're going to get passed up. Or so-and-so is.
Because at a certain point, that's what we got to be careful. Because I always talk about how there's always a backlash effect. There's always a pendulum. However you push one way, it's going to come back and backlash, right? You don't want to get to the point where everyone's afraid to say anything about anything ever.
Right.
That's a dangerous place. Is it so bad that, even if I say it, I have to say, I think Peyton looked better before she got her boob job.
Yeah.
Do I get heat for that? Should I get heat for that? That's an observation. I don't know. It's like me saying Sheamus' haircut looks stupid. I hate Natalia's gear. I hate Braun Strowman's gear. I don't know. What are you allowed to say? What can't you say? I think Natalia's gear is unflattering. That's the bottom line. That's nothing to do with her wrestling skills or her wrestling ability, but that's just an observation. Doesn't make me like her any less. It's just an observation. So I don't know. I don't know what to say or don't know what to do. I don't know how to phrase things. If you go back and listen to the show, I probably said some shit that's going to piss some people off. If I go through anyone's Twitter timeline, you're probably going to say some shit that can be considered body shaming, fat shaming, bullying, what have you. I don't know. People talk shit. It's kind of inherent. Right. It's probably kind of inherent in our psyche. It's like, people are judgmental. People, people talk shit. Like, you see someone that looks fucked up in the street, like, oh, look at that guy. He looks stupid. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's weird. I don't know. Again, in terms of opinion, I don't think he should have said it. I'm glad that he apologized. I'm glad that Peyton felt a certain way and she's able to verbalize that, which is good. I'm not really sure about the white knighting that's going on, because to me, white knighting is the ultimate form of misogyny, because you think a woman cannot fight for themselves. So there's that. So it's a lot of different things here, and as we learn, as we evolve as people, we're gonna fuck up sometimes, right? We're all kind of learning, So no one likes casual racism. People are doing weird. I had someone call me a pussy the other day. It was weird. I don't have people often curse me out very often. So I have no problem taking a brick and smashing someone's face in it. I'm not scared of hurting people. So I don't know. It's very weird. 2018, everybody. It's awesome.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, guys. So we are officially out of time. So for